Well, hello there, guys. How are you doing today? This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and check it out. I'm officially back on camera. Of course, as a lot of you know, I did recently have surgery on my right bicep, and you can see I'm not wearing a sling right now, which is fantastic. It's been about a week or so since the surgery. It's been a rough time, been a lot of pain, as I mentioned on a recent video, and obviously I've been taking a bit of a break from making videos because it's just kind of hard to do when you're in a healing situation like I have been. So I won't waste any more time on this part here in the early parts of this video other than to say I feel like a week later, I'm starting to feel better. I felt like I could not only make another video, but also try getting myself back on camera so we can talk about more fun gaming related stuff, which is what we're doing today. And today we're going to talk about this very odd and admittedly frustrating situation around Nintendo Switch 2 leaks, air quotes, because I believe that in the past 2 weeks, I think we've seen us begin to enter a very strange and kind of awkward era when it comes to interest and hype and discussion around the Nintendo Switch 2 or a next-gen Nintendo console, and these leaks and these fake mock-ups and all these things that people are now starting to do. I think it's going to ramp up significantly throughout the rest of this year and into next year. And I'm not a fan of it, even though I've been talking about and predicting the Nintendo Switch 2 for a couple of years now. The way I think we're starting to see things happen, to me, it's one of the worst sides of the internet and of the gaming space specifically on the internet. And so I kind of want to dissect my thoughts on this a little bit. The main conceit of this concept in my eyes is that over the course of the past week, we've seen a couple of specific individuals online and on Twitter start to share and promote these images of what seems to be a mock-up of a Nintendo Switch 2 or Switch successor. Actually, I shouldn't even say successor. The fake boxes created in these images actually say Switch 2. So we've seen these things going around. We've seen them promoted by a few people. There's also some very impressive fake CG video made that seems to be showcasing what would be like a demo reel using rendered versions of this console being shared by this main account that's kind of responsible for these. And it's created this situation where a lot of people are believing this is real. And it was also being shared by other people and other accounts and folks also being promoted as real. And it is so frustrating to me because of how blatantly fake it is. And we've seen things like this in the gaming space before, so it's not new. It's just very annoying, just to me personally, to see the way it's all been taking shape and the way some people can be so gullible and the way other people will so blatantly, falsely promote something that they should know is not real, only for the sake of their own engagement. And again, people doing that for clicks and engagement isn't new. I just have my own personal problem with how it's been being done. One of the main culprits is this Twitter account called Nintendogs BS. And they've really been an account created only in the past few weeks that initially started sharing this image. This is the main image that I think started a lot of things here, and promoting this as something real. Okay, it's not the same as other like weird Switch 2 mock-up images that we've seen. I use a lot of them in the thumbnails of my videos. Plenty of other YouTubers have been doing the same. Back in previous generations for Nintendo and Sony machines, people were doing this stuff as well. Making things that are just random mock-ups that aren't meant to try and trick people, that's normal. That's just fun for the sake of speculation, if I could talk correctly. And so that's whatever. But this is a very different scenario in my opinion. And so this account was touting this image as something legitimate. You can see, again, it does say Nintendo Switch 2 with this really shitty logo with just this tiny little 2 listed next to it, right? Almost like it kind of looks like it says Nintendo Switch squared if you think about it, which almost would be a cooler name than Nintendo Switch 2. But anyway, that's what it is. It's got these weird versions of like Joy-Cons that are attached to it. It's promoting current Switch games. It doesn't show anything new that would be hyping up a next generation console. It's got this weird little tiny dock that doesn't seem like it would actually protect the screen of the Switch itself. And this image, along with videos and GIFs that this account made, have been used to try to promote something that is supposed to be real, that they were trying to trick people into believing were real. And again, it even worked for a depressing number of people. It actually did trick them. And they were also trying to tout this countdown to something more significant, like it's going to be officially revealed and confirmed on this date, which was now a couple of days ago, and obviously nothing ever happened. And other fellow content creators were trying to believe this and promote this, and it just got so messy because of people being willing to try to state this as something believable. And that's the thing that really gets me. When something is clearly made to be fake and it's a joke, or it's just for fun, or it's just to show off maybe your artistic skills that you can make something, that's one thing. But when you're purposely trying to trick people, and then I see people be gullible enough to believe it, that's the thing that, for some reason, it just grinds my gears. In a lot of ways, this kind of takes me back to the Nintendo NX era, and I have to say, I've been around on YouTube for a while. I'll be coming up on my 10th anniversary for running Rule of Two review on YouTube in October. So we're only a couple of months away for my 10-year anniversary, which means that I go back to when the Wii U was Nintendo's current console. I actually started only weeks before the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One launched. So essentially the entirety of the 8th generation Wii U, PS4, Xbox One, I was doing YouTube. I was covering mostly Nintendo stuff, as well as Sony and Microsoft. It was a ton of fun. I got to know a lot of great people. I was doing podcasts at the time. It was the era that I attribute the beginnings of my channel and the initial growth of my channel to. Obviously, I never blew up to be a huge channel, and that's fine. I'm still proud of what it is today. But really, that 2013 to 2017 or so window, 2016, 2017, those first 3 to 5 years were a lot of fun for me, because that was when every couple of 100 subscribers and every couple of 1,000 subscribers felt significant, and I really enjoyed seeing that growth. And more than that, I enjoyed covering that specific era of gaming and that specific era of Nintendo, because it was the Wii U era, which was a tough era to be a Nintendo fan because a lot of people turned their backs on Nintendo. And Nintendo's home console at the time was not successful and was not popular. Now, I loved it, and I still love it. I still play the Wii U. I was playing it literally a week ago, okay? So actually, I was playing it even more recently than that. I think I was playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze like 3 or 4 days ago. So I'm a big fan of the Wii U, and I was at that time, but being a YouTuber covering Nintendo and the Wii U during that era was tricky because, there wasn't a lot of people who were really into covering the positive qualities of Nintendo at that time. I mean, the 3DS was great and doing well, so you had that aspect, but talking about the Wii U was tricky, man. And so when the NX stuff started, and I remembered saying this at the time, when I was doing a podcast with some good buddies of mine, The Juice is Loose, which is still going, and those guys are doing great now, and I'm a huge fan of all those guys. I remembered saying this on our podcasts that we were doing, and on my videos that I was making during the NX era, where Nintendo said, we're making the next thing, it's called the NX, and it was this mystery that started this cavalcade of rumors and mock-ups and leaks and all this crap for years. For me, at that time, I loved it. I loved it at the time, and I remembered saying it at the time, too, when I was doing videos and podcasts. I think a lot of us will look back on this time down the road as something that we remember fondly. And speaking only for myself, that's true. When I think back to that 2 years where the NX was a mystery and everyone was just throwing anything against the wall to see what would stick, what is Nintendo going to do? Will the Wii U ever gain momentum? We were constantly waiting to see if the Wii U would turn a corner and start to become popular, and it never did, sadly. But at that time, it was something we were waiting to see if would happen, and it also coincided with Nintendo confirming this codename for their next generation machine and what was it going to be. And again, it relates to this because there were mock-ups and rumors and leaks, most of which were fake. One did turn out to be true and actually reveal what the Switch turned out to be. I remembered a Eurogamer kind of thing that showed this little tablet screen with detachable controllers. That seemed weird and impossible, but it turned out to be accurate. But outside of that, everything else was just a bunch of fake stuff. But it was so fun to be invested in the mystery of it all and to uncover the mystery and to just theorize about it. And I think that what we're seeing here with this current mock-up situation and these leaks, again, they are not leaks by any stretch, but, we can call them leaks. I think that it's like the the shittier, less interesting, less genuine kind of big box version of like NX leaks, but it's instead of for the NX, it's for like the Switch 2. And so I don't know if any of that made sense or was really coherent, but it's just something that, as somebody who's been doing YouTube and covering gaming and specifically Nintendo for a decade, going back to that Wii U era, remembering and living through the NX period, I just see us entering, I guess I would say, dangerous territory. It sounds a little heavy-handed and dramatic to call it dangerous territory, but I think you know what I mean. I mean it in a little bit more of like a hyperbolic sense, right? In the sense that starting to create these leaks and create these fake images, people knowing they're making something fake but trying to sell it to the public and the audience as something real and believable. That stuff sucks, man. It's just really annoying. You know, I enjoyed the NX period because it was a different era, but seeing it happen now, and I think that this whole Nintendogs BS and these mock-ups and these GIFs and everything, I just think it's the beginning. That's really, I think, the larger purpose of this conversation, is to talk about not only is this thing annoying and dumb and stupid, but I also think it's the beginning of what will become a larger thing in months to come, right? I think by the time 2023 is over, we might see more examples of this and people really trying to fool folks just for the sake of engagement. A great example that does relate to this whole Switch 2 mock-up thing, and this really drove me crazy and is the thing that probably convinced me to just make a video conversation about this, even though I'm like several days late because of my surgery and all that, to this topic, is this other tweet by this other account. And I think this person had like over 100,000 followers on Twitter. And it is the most annoying thing. Like they basically shared just these two images, which by the way, isn't just the image of the mock-up, but there was also shared this image of what looks like the kind of documentation and the paperwork that's like the safety manual for using an electronic device. And all they did is share these images, and they said, rumor, Nintendo Switch 2 may have leaked, but take it with a grain of salt. Announcement might be this year with a Q1 2024 release. And so, sure, they try to cover their bases by using the standard grain of salt phrase, which to me has lost all meaning and value nowadays. That is just a worthless thing to say at any given time. Like, add something more substantial to how you're trying to cover something as real or not real or a theory. Grain of salt, I'm done with it. I no longer want to see that frickin' phrase ever again. It does not cover the bases the way you think it does. And this person just said rumor. They claimed it as a rumor. And it took 2 seconds of digging when I saw this to be like, this is not a rumor. There's no rumor accompanying this. There's no story. There's no coverage. There's no media. This is a clearly fake thing. You can easily trace the source. It's obvious that it's fake. There is no rumor. You just stated rumor because you want to make it seem like something it isn't for your own benefit. And if you want proof, we see a lot of tweets do this nowadays, but this one especially drove me a little bit crazy. This person also said, because that tweet got a lot of traction, they said, while I got you in here, follow me if you want to stay up to date with gaming news, restock, hot demands, blah, 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 fire emoji. Don't be an ass. Don't be an ass. This is ridiculous. You are totally just farming engagement in a really crappy way. And, you know, I've said it a few times. I'll say it again. None of us are new to this. Like, this is what happens on all social media in the age of the internet and social media and YouTube and Twitter. People will do anything to farm engagement. So it's not like this person is the only person guilty of it. But because it relates to the gaming space, it relates to Nintendo, the idea of a Switch 2, which you guys know I've been heavily invested in this topic for a few years. And also the fact that this is so blatantly fake, and this person peddled something just to say, hey, follow me for all these things. Here's something I'm stating is a rumor when it clearly isn't. Man, it just really bothers me. Okay, full disclosure, I did not anticipate getting so activated, I guess, by this as I covered this. I knew I felt kind of strongly that it was all dumb and annoying. But once I started talking about it out loud, which this microphone and this camera is the first time I've talked about it out loud, and I start rereading everything and seeing these images again, I'm like, this is so dumb. And so yes, it got me a little bit heated just because it's so logically frustrating to me. At the end of the day, we see this stuff happen. We see people clickbait on YouTube. We see people say stupid things and farm engagement on Twitter. They get a viral tweet with something that's true or fake or whatever their viral tweet is, and then they follow it up with, "Hey, check out my Spotify, check out my SoundCloud, follow my Twitter account for more of this." Like, so this person is doing what we see a lot of other people do. Again, like that, we all get that. But I think the way it's all played out, if you just know gaming and you follow this the way we all do, I think it's specifically shitty and it's specifically dumb. And so I have no respect for that Twitter account and the way that they went about things, because there wasn't a rumor. If there was another larger, more substantial rumor and conversation happening around any of this stuff, it would be a different story. And again, for context, you are hearing this from the guy, me, who in 2020 started talking about, I think we're going to hear about Nintendo's next console in an official capacity by 2022 or 23. And here in the year of 2023, the Switch 2 conversation, Nintendo hasn't said anything yet, but it is going rampant. And this stuff is now happening. We're getting the NX equivalent with these mock-ups and these people claiming fake rumors and leaks that are not rumors and leaks. And so while my guess of 3 years ago has yet to be proven correct, one thing that is happening is the gaming public and community has rallied around this concept and is believing that the Switch 2 is in our sights. It is in the nearish future. And that alone, to me, plays into stuff I was talking about a few years ago. And so I find it fascinating. And so even me, who in theory would want to grab onto this and say, look at how correct my predictions from 3 years ago are, I can't do that in good faith because this is all bullshit. And I don't like the way some other people are handling it. And I'm not trying to be like the YouTube police or the social media police, so don't mistake my words. But I do want to break down the logic of it. And I just think that logically it's all very frustrating to me. So this video, this conversation has become a bit of a rant. I feel like I've been rambling and ranting about something that frustrates me a lot. And I don't really normally do that. But, you know, to wrap up, because I don't want to beat a dead horse and I'm already doing that. To wrap up, it's because I've been invested in the Switch 2 topic for a couple of years. Obviously, I love gaming. I love Nintendo. I cover this stuff anyway. And so, yeah, I had a lot of opinions on this. And maybe it's my arm constantly hurting me and attacking me and the pain medication I've been taking for like a week that has me a little bit more animated. So maybe I'm releasing some of the stress of the pain I've been enduring for a week in this video conversation. So if it came off that way, I don't know if I apologize, but all I'll say is, like I already said, it isn't what I intended for this conversation to be. It's just organically how I felt as I kind of revisited it in this video. So I don't know, man. We're entering strange territory. Be on the lookout for more of this kind of stuff in the future. And so I guess for now, that's all I have to say. That's about it.